Somebody please confirm, is the screen visible along with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Great. Hello, everyone. Good evening to all of you. I hope you all are doing well. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I think all of us have joined. And good evening. Good evening. Hi, Praveen. Everyone. Good evening. Okay. So, everyone, today you all know that we all have to start one new chapter today that is called Documentation and Evidence. Let me just do some small adjustment and then we'll immediately start with that. Um, mm, yeah, so everything, sound, picture, clarity, everything is fine? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we have to start with a new chapter. What is the name of the chapter, everyone? This is our going to be chapter number 3, everyone. What is the name of the chapter? The name of the chapter is going to be Evidence and Documentation. Evidence and what? Documentation. Let me tell you one thing, guys. Once this chapter will be over, you can say that almost your half of the standards on auditing will be over, because this chapter is going to make you understand so many standards. So if I have to tell you exactly about the formation of this chapter and what we are actually going to do, then in that case you can understand it in that way. There are total 9 standards on auditing we have to learn in this chapter. 9 standards on auditing we have to learn. What are the standards on auditing we are going to learn? We are going to learn almost the 500 series, everyone. Almost the total 500 series we are going to learn. Along with that, we will learn one standard called SA-230, which is having a huge relevance in our auditing profession. Not only from the examination point of view, from the examination point of view, the 200% this standard is very, very, very much, you can say that very much important. But yes, from our practicality point of view, also this standard is very much important. 230. Now, what is the name of the standard? The name of the standard is known as Audit Documentation, everyone. What is the name of the standard? Audit Documentation. Now, in the 500 series, everyone, in the 500 series, we are having actually 10 standards on auditing in your portion. Actually, there are total 11 standards on auditing in the 500 series, but 540 has been removed from your portion. So, for your examination purpose of May 21, you only have 10 standards on auditing, and out of 10, SA 530 and SA 520, we are going to do it separately. It means here in this chapter, we are going to do 8 standards on auditing relating to which series, everyone? 500 series. So, relating to 500 series, we have to do the 8 standards on auditing, and relating to 200 series we have to do one standard on auditing. In total 9 standards on auditing we are going to do. Now these 8 standards on auditing of 500 series, everyone, this is known as evidence series. What is the name of the series, everyone? It is known as evidence series. And essay 230, everyone, is known as audit documentation. Therefore the name of the series is known as documentation, right or not? Now, this is what our chapter name is, evidence and what? Documentation. Now, try to understand this thing very carefully, everyone. Try to understand this thing very, very carefully. Understand one thing. Just let me just check. Am I coming twice on my things? Is the voice and picture clarity, everything is fine, everyone? Please come.
Yes,
There's no problem, right? Okay. I'm finding some groups. Hmm. Okay, no issues. Let's continue in that way. So, the name of the chapter is known as Audit Documentation and Audit Evidence. Now, it's a very evident fact that everyone, You know that auditor gives the guarantee or auditor expresses the opinion, everyone?
Express the opinion.
Yes, we always express an opinion. Whenever we express an opinion, everyone, make sure that you need some evidences on the basis of which your expression of opinion can be done. Without having an evidence in your pocket, can you tell me, can you prove that something is happening or something is not happening? No. So let me get it into the straight way, in this way. Say, for example, somebody is calling. A reminder for study. Definitely, definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Don't worry. Your material will be there. Arey, I'm here now. No need of material. Don't worry. But definitely you will get the material. Yeah, I understood. Even the management also reminded me. No issues. Okay. Now, what I'm talking about is whenever we go to a client's place and whenever we talk to our client, we directly tell to our client, say, for example, I'm telling to my client that, sir, I think that your company is not going to survive for more than 2 years. Now, tell me one thing, whether my client will be in a very kind of dilemmatic situation or not. Yes. Now, client will directly ask, Rohit, do you have a proof? So that's the reason to make sure that whenever you are opening up your mouth in front of your client, especially when it comes to the expression of opinion, you have to make sure that you always should have evidence in your pocket. If you don't have the evidence, don't dare to open up your mouth. That is what the whole 500 series is going to make us understand. Then, sir, what is the purpose of 230? 230 why has been attached with the 500 series. Now, look at the logic. Now, when I'm going to do the audit at my client's place, am I going to collect one evidence, everyone, or multiple evidences? Multiple
Multiple
evidence.
evidence.
Hundreds of thousands of evidences I'm going to collect. When I'm going to collect hundreds of thousands of evidences, don't you think that I need a proper file to maintain those evidences or not?
Yes.
Yes. For that file is known as audit documentation, everyone. That file is known as audit documentation. So what do you mean by audit documentation? So I hope you all understood the background of the chapter, why the chapter name is known as evidence and documentation. The chapter name is known as evidence and documentation because whatever the evidences we are going to collect when we'll do the audit at the client's place, those evidences we are going to put it in one file. That file is known as documentation. So first we are going to do this very small standard called SA-230, which talks about audit documentation. After that, we'll start with a 500 series, and in the 500 series, 8 standards will be over. And let me tell you one thing, guys. This is the most important chapter in your total audit subject. So make sure that you are not planning any kind of holiday during the classes. Means approximately, if I'm not wrong, this week completely. And you know that on daily basis from today onwards, we are going to meet from 7 to 9. So this week now completely is going to be dedicated to this chapter called evidence and documentation. So daily 7 to 9. I hope 7 to 9 is comfortable time for all of you. Yes. Okay. So we are not going to extend even a 1 minute before 9. But yes, 7 to 9 we are going to have because I. Sorry, I am unable to hear you. Every day. Okay. Yeah. So 7 to 9 will be every day now, including Sunday also. I'll try to take 2 to 3 hours so that we can, sum up and we can compromise what we have not done in the last 2 weeks. Okay. So today, our first topic is going to be SA 230, everyone, which is going to talk about what, everyone? Audit documentation. Audit documentation. Clear, everyone? Now, understand one thing very clearly. What is the history and background of this word in your practicing profession of being an auditor? Try to understand this concept very carefully. First of all, sir, why audit documentation is in our portion? Now, see, I don't know whether you know or not. So, everyone, please mute yourself. Just try to understand the concept. Now, see, there is one ICI में there is one board called peer review board. The name of the board is known as peer review board. Actually, this is your CA final topic, but it is very much necessary that I should tell you here itself only. It is your CA final topic, but I'm going to tell you here itself only. What do you mean by peer review board? This peer review board was constituted by ICA back in the year 2002. So what is the purpose of this peer review board? This peer review board does the peer review on practicing CA's firms. Are you getting the point? It means every year ICAI selects some random firms of India, and on those random forms which are selected by ICAI, peer review will be conducted. So let me write it. What is the name of the concept? Name of the concept is known as peer review. So sir, what do you mean by peer review? Peer stands for same standing and review stands for re-evaluation. Now my question is very simple to all of you, those who are listening to me. Tell me, are we representing ICA in the market by becoming a chartered accountant or not? Yes. People respect our work, accept our work, and recognize our work because we maintain the quality control in our work as per SA-230. Yes, sir. You already told us. Now, ICA wants to see that when you are serving the society, when you are serving your profession, are you maintaining the quality consistently or not? For that reason, ICA made the two boards. One is called PRB and one is called QRB. Actually, PRB is made by ICAI, QRB is made by central government. What is PRB? Peer Review Board, and what is QRB? Quality Review Board. So basically what the ICA does, ICA selects some random firms, and on the random firms, peer review will take place. Peer review will take place on that firms. So what do you mean by peer review? Peer review stands for audit of auditors. Means what? Basically, ICAI is checking that when you are doing the audit of your client, are you doing the proper documentation? Are you following the standards on auditing or not? Are you following the laws and regulations or not? Are you following the acts or not? Are you maintaining the quality or not? So ICAI is doing the audit on its own chartered accountants only. So that is called audit of auditors concept. Sir, where we are going to understand it? We are going to understand it in CA final. This is waiting for you in CA final. Sir, why you are telling it here? Because until unless you don't know the background, you can't understand the standard. I hope all of you understood the concept so far. What is a way of teaching is, first I tell you the background, and after that only you should come to know about the topic. Not just because ICA has introduced this concept of peer review, it means, is there any possibility that in future my firm can be selected by the ICA to do the peer review or not? Everyone? Yes. So at that point of time, if my firm will be selected, one peer reviewer will come. Now the question is, sir, who is that peer reviewer? That peer reviewer is also a practicing chartered accountant. It means one practicing chartered accountant is doing the audit of the another practicing chartered accountant. That's the reason it is known as peer, everyone. What is the meaning of the peer? Same standing. Another CA is going to do the audit of this CA. Now, what he is going to do the audit in that? In that, he's simply going to do the audit in this way. What? He's going to come to your firm. He's going to check whether you're maintaining quality or not. And how he will check your quality, how he will check your whether you're following the standards on auditing or not. He will simply say, sir, please show me your documentations. Please show me your files which you have maintained. Please show me your evidences which you have collected. From the seeing the file, from the verification of the files only, the peer reviewer, from the verification of the files only, the peer reviewer will come to know that whether this particular practicing unit is doing the audit properly or not. As simple as that. Are you getting the point or not? That's the reason audit documentation and audit evidence series is very important from your ICA point of view, from your practice point of view, from your examination point of view also. N number of questions can be drafted in the MCQs when it comes to this. So this chapter is very full of MCQs and full of conceptual clarity. You are going to get this chapter learn in a very interesting way. Okay, so I hope I made you understand the background of audit documentation. Why audit documentation is a standard in our portion? It's only because of this. Only because of this. Are you getting the point? Now, sir, what do you understand by the term called audit documentation? Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. What do you understand by the term called audit documentation? Everyone, please. Yes.
Is this peer review voluntary or compulsory?
That's what peer review depends upon one criteria. That criteria I need not tell you here because that much of concept is only required at intermediate level. But yes, it is. You may be selected, may not be selected. I think Komal, there is a problem in your voice. If you want, you can reconnect again. Or I think you are sitting in a very isolated place where your voice is getting, doubled. Okay, so make sure that you are sitting in a very compact place or keep your mic away from your mouth so that the things can be understood in a proper way. But yes, it is not voluntary, but you may be chosen or may not be chosen. But you should always be ready now because it is going to be a surprise check on you. Now, everyone, what do you understand by the term called documentation? Everyone, please give me the answer. Where is the first time have you heard this word? We heard this in our SA-200. I hope you all will agree with me. So can I say that it is one of the basic principles governing an audit, everyone? Yes. Audit documentation is one of the basic principles governing an audit. Point number two. Sir, what do you mean by audit documentation? Everyone, please tell me. Audit documentation includes the evidences or not? Yes. So what is audit documentation as per SA-230? So SA-230 says what? Audit documentation, audit documentation means an audit working paper file. Audit working paper file. The audit documentation means an audit working paper file which includes. So it is that file which includes what? Audit procedures and audit techniques performed and adopted by the auditor. Adopted by the auditor. It includes audit evidences. It includes audit evidences collected by the auditor. It includes audit conclusions drawn by the auditor. I hope all of you are understanding each and every word which I am writing in front of you. Yes. So this is called the definition of audit documentation, everyone. So sir, what do you mean by audit documentation? Audit documentation means that working paper file which includes three of my things. My procedures and my techniques which I adopted when I did my client's audit. I will document it. I will make a note of it. The various evidences which I've collected during the course of my client's audit, I will collect those audit evidences and include it in that file. And the audit conclusions which are drawn by the auditor. Are you getting the point? What are the conclusions I drawn? Now, if I'll make a record of it, if I'll make a note of it, everything, now please tell me everyone, is it going to act as a self-defensing tool in the future? And is it going to act as a guide for future audits or not? Yes.
Yes.
Now tell me, next year when I'll be doing the audit, will I be automatically knowing that last year which procedures and which techniques I followed? Yes. Last year which evidences I collected? Yes. Last year which conclusions I drawn? Yes. So everything, remember one thing, everything you have to make sure that it should be the part of your audit documentation. Make a record of everything. That is what you mean by documentation. This is only the definition which is telling you the 3 points. But let me tell you one thing, practically, we make a record of everything. Whatever the communications you are doing with your client, make a record of that. What are the correspondences which are exchanging between you and your client, make a record of that. Put it in your file. Whatever the documentation, whatever the piece of paper you are sharing with your client, document that. Do you all remember SA-210? Yes, audit engagement letter. Can anybody tell me how many letters we have drafted at that point of time? Two letters. One is, yeah, both are sent to the management. One is kept by the management and one was returned back to whom? Auditor. For which purpose, everyone? SA-230. Do you remember that? I wrote it there as well. Yes. Acha, in the planning, SA-300 and in the materiality, SA-320, did I tell you two topics that we should always keep on documenting our audit plan, audit strategy, changes in the audit plan, and the reasons of change? Yes. Did I tell you in the SA-320, the last topic which we have done in the previous class on Sunday, we should also document the materiality level of your financial statements as a whole, materiality level of ABCD, performance materiality, what are the changes in these three are coming and what are the reasons of the change? Yes. So remember one thing, documentation means making a record of everything, whatever you are doing the audit. It can be your procedure, it can be your planning, it can be your program, it can be your techniques, it can be your evidences, it can be your conclusions. Make a record of everything. Those who are going to the articleship, they must be agreeing with me that when you go to your articleship, you find so many almiras in your office. And when you open those almiras in your office, do you find the big bundles of files over there or not? Yes. Those big bundles of the files are nothing but including what? That is including the audit evidences, things, plannings, evidences, conclusions, errors, frauds, what you find during the course of an audit. And it helps you next year in planning your audit in a very smooth manner. That's the reason. What are the two advantages of the self audit documentation? Is it acts as a which tool, everyone? Self-defensing tool, and it also acts as a guide for which audit, everyone? Future audit. It's a very simple thing. Suppose one of my client came to me. One of my client came to me and he's saying that Rohit, in the year 1617, in the year 1617, when you did the audit, this is a problem we found. You didn't do the audit properly. Now, will I go to my office, open the Almira and take the 1617 audit file and whatever the charges he's putting, can I defend myself by showing that or not? Yeah, I did that. Am I correct or not? Yes. So it acts as a self-defensing tool also. This is what do you mean by the term called audit documentation. Everyone, clear everyone or not? Yes. Now, everyone just read the definition along with me. What is the definition of audit documentation? You can all see now the screen. What is the definition of audit documentation, everyone? Audit documentation. Audit documentation refers to what? Records of audit procedures performed by the auditor, audit evidences collected by the auditor, conclusions drawn by the auditor, and these all are known as which papers, everyone? Working papers. These are known as which papers? Working papers. And that file is known as what? Audit working file. I hope all of you understood. Yes or no? So I hope the definition of the audit documentation went inside the everyone's head. Yes, sir. So can I say that audit documentation is first time is the place where we have heard it is the SA-200. It is one of the basic principles governing an audit. It includes my audit procedures and techniques. It includes my evidences which I have collected, and it includes the various conclusions which I have drawn. Acha, tell me one thing. What audit documentation provides everyone? Look at these 2 points A and B in front of you. Audit documentation basically demonstrates my performance. Audit documentation basically demonstrates the performance of whom? Of auditor. Tell me, everyone, when the peer review is happening on my firm, when the another chartered accountant is coming on my firm to check my work, is he going to check my documentation or not? Yes. And by checking my documentation, what he will find out? He will find out that I have collected evidences of my auditor's basis for conclusion. If I'm drawing the conclusion, I'm collecting the evidences for that conclusion. And did I achieve my overall objectives of doing the audit or not? Tell me, everyone, what is a major objective of doing the audit? Is to give a guarantee on financial statement or to express an opinion, everyone?
Based on the evidence.
Yes, based on the evidence, we express the opinion. It can be clean opinion, it can be qualified opinion, it can be adverse opinion, or it can be disclaimer. And most importantly, it also gives the evidence to the peer reviewer that I did the audit in a which manner? Planned manner. And I performed my audit by following what, everyone? Standards on auditing. And I also followed the applicable legal and regulatory requirements. So tell me one thing, if I'm collecting the evidences, if my conclusions are on the basis of those evidences, if I have achieved my audit objective, if I have done my audit in a planned manner, if I have performed my audit with the requirement of essays, if I have followed the applicable laws, and if I followed the applicable regulations of doing the audit, my question is very simple to all of you. Did I perform well or I did not perform well? Yes, so that's the reason it demonstrates the performance of an auditor. Did you understand the point or not? So it demonstrates the performance of an auditor, everyone. This is what the point which you have to write in the examination when this question will come. Did you get the point? So what they may ask you, why do we need the audit documentation? Tell me, everyone, do you know the answer now? Why do we need the audit documentation? Sir, we need the audit documentation so that we can show our performance. By what way? Whether I have collected the evidences or not. Did I do my audit in a planned manner or not? Did I do my audit in accordance with standards on auditing or not? Or did I do my audit with the help of applicable laws and regulations? So basically, it's my demonstration of my performance. That's the reason we should maintain the audit documentation in our office. Everyone, right? Crystal clear? Did you understand, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Chalo. Next thing what I have to ask you, sir, in my audit documentation, what should be the form, what should be the content, and what should be the extent of audit documentation? Listen to this point very carefully. Form, content, and extent of the audit documentation. So next topic is form, content, and extent. What do you mean by that? Sir, in my audit documentation, whatever the evidences, whatever the papers I'm including in my file of audit documentation, whatever the papers and whatever the documents I'm including in my file of audit documentation, it is dependent upon which factors? Whether my audit documentation file is going to be bigger or whether my audit documentation file is going to be a smaller. All this depends upon which factors. That question what we are going to understand. What should be in my audit documentation file, what should not be in my audit documentation file, that we are going to understand. That's why the topic name is form, content, and extent of my audit documentation. Means what? If whatever the file I'm maintaining, how it should be prepared, what should be inside. Guys, I think I got a message. Are you all getting the message?
Yes, sir.
Your meeting will end in 10 minutes. Contact your IT team to upgrade to Zoom Pro for unlimited group meeting. Uh, Anybody can contact with the management, please? See why this message is displaying? Because if I'm not wrong, I'm to doing the audit. I'm to doing the taking the classes from their ID only, and this ID is completely. Somebody please contact the management. Sir, this kind of message is appearing. Okay, I hope screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So what we were talking about, like in this topic, we are going to understand ki how much should be the quantum of my file. Are you getting the point? What should be my file size? It should be bigger or it is going to be smaller. What should be included in my file? What shall not be included in my file? That means what are the contents of my file and extents of the audit documentation, right or not? To what extent? I can add something. Now see, size and complexity, the size and complexity of the entity is the first factor which we all are going to understand it. Tell me everyone, the bigger the size of your client's entity is and more complex the business of your client is going to be more evidence or less evidence?
More evidence.
More evidence. And when it is going to be more evidence and when it is going to be more procedures and more techniques, is your audit documentation is going to be higher or lower? Higher. So what is the nature of the size? What is the size of my client's business and how complex is my client's business is? That is going to be helpful in deciding whether my audit documentation is going to be higher or my audit documentation is going to be lower. Let me give you one practical example. Suppose there is one client who is selling one item at the GST rate of 5%. It means whatever the sales my client is doing, all are being done whatever the sales my client is doing, all are being done at the GST rate of 5%. But at the same point of time, there is one another client who is selling the items, but at a different GST rates. So tell me, is it a simple GST or it's a variety of GST now? Variety. So more complex is which audit? First one or second one? Second one. So my audit evidence collection will be more in case of second one, will be less in case of first one. So nature, size and complexity of the client's business is going to make us understand what kind of audit documentation my client is going to give. Someone is in. Okay, everyone clear or not? Yes.
Clear.
Now, second factor which will help me in deciding what should be the part and what should not be the part of my audit documentation, that is called nature of audit procedures to be performed. Nature of audit procedures to be performed. Now listen to this very carefully. I have to tell you now, there are two types of audit procedures, everyone. One is known as compliance procedures and one is known as substantive procedures. One is known as compliance procedure and one is known as substantive procedure. Sir, what do you mean by compliance procedure? It is known as lenient approach of doing the audit of your client. So when the client's accounting system, internal control system is super, we go lenient on our client, we go soft on our client. That is called compliance procedure. Sir, what do you mean by substantive procedure? It means you are going to be strict on your client. And tell me everyone, when you are going to be strict on your client, when your client's internal control system is super or it is poor? Poor. So my question is, if I'm going strict on my client and if I'm going lenient on my client, where my audit evidence collection is going to be more? In case of strict way of doing the audit, and my audit evidence collection will be less in case of what? Lenient approach of doing. So what kind of audit procedures I'm performing at my client's place, that is also one of the reason what is going to be my audit documentation. Third one, identified risk of material misstatement. It's a very simple logic. Higher the risks of frauds and errors you are expecting from your client's financial statement, what will be the quantum of your audit evidence collection, everyone? If there are higher risk and higher frauds and errors you are expecting, audit evidence collection will be higher or lower? Higher. And if there is a less risk, less frauds, less errors you are expecting from your client, the audit evidence collection will be higher or lower?
Lower.
So third factor is identify risk of material misstatement. Fourth factor is significance of the audit evidence obtained. My question is very simple, everyone. There are two choices in front of you. Suppose you are verifying debtors of the company. Suppose you are verifying what? Debtors of the company. While verifying the debtors of the company, I'm giving you the two choices. Behave like a chartered accountant and give me the answer, everyone. Choice number one, you can ask the ledgers from your client and client will provide you the ledgers. Choice number two, everyone, you can do one thing. You can take the external confirmation letter directly from the debtors parties. Which one is a more reliable audit evidence, everyone? External confirmation letter obviously is more reliable as compared to the ledgers. So my question is, which you would like to collect, which you would not like to collect? Would you like to collect ledgers or would you like to collect the confirmation letters?
Confirmation letter.
So what is going to be the part of audit documentation and what is not going to be the part of your audit documentation is dependent upon the point number 4, the significance of the audit evidence you are obtaining. Which audit evidence is important, everyone, in our example? Which audit evidence is important, ledgers or external confirmation letter?
External confirmation letter.
Yes. So is it more significant and more important or not? Yes. Yes. Next one. The nature and extent of exceptions identified. Nature and extent of exceptions identified. Sir, you have to understand today a very important topic called, sir, what do you mean by the word called exception? Listen to this very carefully. Exceptions means which you were not thinking, but that thing has happened. Exceptions means which you were not thinking, but that thing has happened. It means a shocking thing has happened which you were not expecting at all. Now, my question is, more and more shocking things are coming to me. More and more shocking things are coming to me when I'm doing the client's audit. My question is very simple to all of you. What should be the level of audit evidence in that case?
Higher.
Higher. Are you getting the point? And less exceptions are there. 1 or 2 shocks only came. Lower. So it means my audit documentation is also dependent upon how many exceptions I'm getting when I'm doing my client's audit. The next topic is point number 6 is what? The need to, the point number 6 is connected with the next page, everyone. The need to document a conclusion or the basis for a conclusion not readily determinable from the documentation of work performed or document evidence obtained and the audit tools used. Now tell me one thing, everyone. What kind of tools you are using? What kind of conclusion you are drawing? On the basis of that also audit evidence collection will be higher. My question is very simple, everyone. You are doing an audit of your client and you want to express a negative opinion on your client. Now, to express a negative opinion, don't you think that it is a very big allegation on the client's going concern assumption? Yes. So it is, if I'm putting an allegation that your going concern assumption is very poor, should I be able to prove myself with the less number of evidence or more number of evidence? More number of evidence. There might be a chance that my client may not agree with one evidence. Therefore, I have to collect the multiple evidences. At that point of time, what kind of conclusion you are drawing, that is also one of the factor. And the last but not the least, the audit tools you are using. If though I'm using manual audit tools, so then the audit evidence collection will be higher. If I'm using the computerized audit tools, then the all files will be in the computer format. So audit evidence collection can be lower because I can take the backup of my client also. So what kind of tools you are using in your audit, that also defines your audit evidence collection. So my question is, everyone, can anybody tell me what are the 7 factors we have done which will decide the form, content and extent of my audit evidence? What are the 7 factors? Point number 1, nature. Tell me, everyone, let us write it.
Time action.
Okay, let us write it, everyone. What is the point number 1? First of all, what is the name of the topic? The name of the topic is factors affecting the content, the form, and extent of my audit documentation. Clear, everyone? Now, you all are going to give me the answer. What are those factors? Point number 1, nature, size, and complexity of business of client. Business of client. What is the nature of your client's business? What is the size of your client's business? What is the complexity of your client's business? Point number 2, everyone. Audit procedures performed by the auditor. Audit procedures performed by the auditor. Point number 3, everyone. ROMM, identified. What is ROMM, everyone? Risk of material misstatements identified by the auditor. If the risk is higher, then the audit evidence collection will be higher. Point number 4, significance
Audit evidence.
of audit evidence collection. Significance of audit evidence collected. Audit evidence to be collected. And point number 5, everyone, number of exceptions found. Am I correct or not?
Yes, sir.
Number of exceptions found. And point number 6, everyone, type of opinion or conclusions you are drawing. Conclusions drawn. And last but not the least, everyone, 7th one is what? Audit tools used. I hope all of you will agree with me in all these 7 areas which is there in front of you. Yes, so these are the 7 factors, everyone, which helps the auditor in deciding whether what should be my audit documentation, what should not be, what should be the size of my audit documentation, what should not be. I hope everyone is crystal clear with this concept also. Yes, can I move forward? Yes, so we can move forward. So let us understand the next topic, everyone. What is our next topic? We have to go to the page number 1 again. Examples of audit documentation have been given in front of you. Sir, tell me one thing, everyone. What is the definition of audit documentation? I told you. Audit documentation generally includes my 3 things. What are the 3 things? Evidences which I collected. Point number 2, conclusions which I have drawn. Point number 3, procedures and techniques which I am following. It means our examples also should be related to that only. Tell me one thing. Can I document my audit program?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Yes, I can document my audit program. Can I document my analysis? Yes. Can I document my issues which I have with the client? Yes. Can I document the summary of my significant matters? Yes. Can I document my confirmation letters and representation letters? Yes. Can I document my list of things which I'm going to verify at my client's place? Yes. Should I document my correspondences, means communication, which you are doing with your client via email or any case? Yes. Auditor may include a copy of entities records also. Now my question is, everyone, okay, my question is, everyone, can I include some of the copies of the important contracts and agreements of my client or not?
Yes.
Okay, can I take the copy of MOA of my client?
Yes.
Yes. Can I take the copy of AOA and certificate of incorporation, PAN number, GST registration letter?
Yes.
Yes. All these, see, it all depends upon auditor's professional judgment, what you want to collect and what you don't want to collect. I think if you will collect MOA, AOA and certificate of incorporation and GST letter, do you have to collect it on yearly basis or it is a once in a lifetime documents?
Once in a lifetime.
So you need not collect it again and again. Are you getting the point? It may be a possibility that when you're doing the audit of your client for the first time, these documents will become the part of your audit documentation file, but it is not necessarily that every year you are going to collect it. I hope every one of you is understanding or there's no doubt, single doubt on this page. Everyone, please tell me so that I can move ahead. Any doubt or no doubt? No doubt, clearly. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of audit documentation? Why do we do the audit documentation? The next topic is that. What is the purpose of audit documentation? Sir, purpose, can I say that what is the advantage also we can write it as? Yes. What is the advantage of audit documentation? What is the role of audit documentation? What is the objective of audit documentation, everyone? Any of these questions will come, your answer will remain same. So you please tell me, do you agree or not? Whether the audit documentation will help my engagement team next year to plan and perform my audit or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Can I open the last year's file to make the plan and performance of the next year? Yes. Whether my audit documentation, now tell me, documentation means oral or in writing, everyone? Writing. Whether if the audit documentation is in writing, will I be able to direct and supervise my audit work and discharge and review the responsibilities or not? Yes, it's a very simple thing. It's a very simple thing. Suppose one of you is my article assistant. I gave you the documentation. These are the various verification steps. You have to go to the client and perform it. You went to the client, performed it also. Next day when you came to me, did I give you something in writing or not? I gave you something in writing or not? Yes. Next day when you came to me, I'm asking you why you have not done these 2 to 3 things. So my question is, can I fix my staff responsibility in that case or not?
Yes.
Yes. So it helps me in directing and supervising my audit work. This is the advantage. What is advantage number one, sir? It helps me in planning and performing the next year audit. It helps me in directing and supervising the audit and discharging my review responsibilities. It also enables the engagement team to be accountable for its work. Just now I gave you one example. When everyone is having their responsibilities in writing, everyone, can you escape from your responsibility by saying that, Rohit sir, you didn't tell us to do that? Can you escape or you cannot escape? You cannot escape. Next point. Retaining a record of matters of continuous significance for the which audits? Future audit. So everyone please tell me, does the audit documentation serve as a guide for future audits or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I already told you while giving the introduction of this chapter. Next point. Enabling the conduct of quality control reviews and inspections. Now, everyone, please tell me, try to connect this point number 5 with something which I have already told you. What is the lawmaker trying to tell you in this case? Read the point number 5, everyone, carefully, and somebody please. Yes. Is the lawmaker trying to talk about peer review here?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Whether the peer review is nothing but the inspection on my work or not?
Yes, sir.
Now, what does the peer reviewer, quality reviewer will do? Is he going to come and see my form and go, or he's going to check my quality? Yes, the audit documentation helps me in letting my work checked by peer reviewers, inspections, and quality reviews. And most importantly, enables the conduct of external inspections in accordance with the applicable legal, regulatory, and other requirements. I will give you a very simple example for that. Say, for example, income tax department came to my client's office and he said that we need your tax audit report. We need your which audit report? Tax audit report. What happened? 6 months back, my client had an accident of fire in his factory and his office, and all the documentation which my client was having, books of accounts, everything got burnt. So my question is whether my client can provide now the tax audit report to the income tax department? Yes or no?
No, sir.
No. But whether that income tax department people can come to my office and take the copy of tax audit report or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, because I maintained one copy for myself also. That's what is the sixth point, everyone. What is the sixth point, everyone? Read it carefully. Enables enables the conduct of external inspections in accordance with the applicable legal, regulatory, or other requirements. It means if sometimes my client can't help, I can help my client. Am I correct or not? Tell me, everyone, did you understand the purpose of audit documentation, role of audit documentation, advantage of audit documentation, and objective of audit documentation or not?
Yes, sir.
So, okay. So, please tell me, everyone, let's write it and let's write it with your knowledge. Tell me, what do you understand by this? What is the purpose? What is the role? What is the function? And what is the advantage? You know, when we write it after learning it, don't you think that it is becoming a second revision for you guys? Yes, it helps you in retaining the matter for a longer period of time. Even though you might be writing, might not be writing. But I have an habit, whenever I do something, it's better that you should put it on a piece of paper. Are we also doing the documentation or not?
Yes.
Yes. So that's the reason. Now, point number 1, everyone, please tell me what is the first advantage or first purpose? Act as a guide for which audit, everyone?
Future audit.
Future audit. I'm going to write it in a simplified manner. It acts as a guide for future audit. Now tell me, does it act as a self-defensing tool also?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it acts as a self-defensing tool.
They help to plan the audit.
Yes, against gross negligence charges. If someone will try to put the gross negligence charges with me, I can defend myself against the gross negligence charges. Next point, point number 3, everyone. It helps in what? Planning and programming your audit. It helps in
Audit.
planning and programming and performance of audit. Performance of audit. You please tell me, do you agree with me or not? Does it help you in making your more accountability of your engagement team or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, engagement team can or cannot escape from their
For the accountability.
accountability or responsibility. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And it also helps me in supervising what? It also helps me in directing and supervising my teamwork. It also helps me in directing and supervising the teamwork and discharging my responsibility. And most importantly, point number 6, everyone, does it serve as an evidence for the my quality control reviews and peer reviews? Yes, it serves as an evidence when any quality control review or peer reviews will take place. I hope this handwritten notes are helping you all.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and point number 7, everyone. What is point number 7? Now, does it also helps in the external investigations and inspections?
Yes, sir.
Yes, also helps in external inspections and investigation, because everything is in writing. And the good thing about writing and documenting is it can be referred again and again. Yes or no? Yes. Because I'm going to take a 120 minutes of 2 hours of class, but I can guarantee that none of you can retain 100% which I'm teaching in the class. That's the reason what I do is, what do I teach? It's better to put it on a piece of paper. At least you'll be in a position to connect your revision. Okay, while teaching this point, server has given this kind of example. So, right, everyone, we are done with another topic also. What was the topic we are done with? Purpose of audit documentation, everyone. Now, what do you mean by audit file? I already told you. Audit file. Achha, tell me one thing, everyone. What do you mean by audit working paper file? Is it necessary that my audit working paper file should be in physical way, or it can be electronic file also?
Either way.
Either of the way. If I'm collecting the papers, then it will be a physical way, or it can be a electronic file also. So what is being written in front of you? It may be defined. It may be defined as one of the more folders or other storage media in the physical or electronic form containing records that comprise audit documentation for a which engagement, specific engagement. Now, there are some rules you have to understand. How many of you remember the standard called SA-220? What is SA-220, everyone? Just remember, if you people can remember the name of the standard. What was SA-220, everyone?
Ethical requirements.
Yes, SA-220 was quality control. Yes, quality control in the audit of financial statements. Remember one thing, SA-220 is the replica of SQC1, everyone. SA-220 is the replica of SQC1, everyone. Sir, what is SQC1? SQC1 stands for Standards on Quality Control. Sir, how many types of this standard we have? There is only one standard, everyone. Standard on Quality Control and SA-220. Both are very similar to each other. So either you can write as per the requirement of SA-220 here, or you can write as per the SQC1. That is your choice. But what I'm trying to tell you is, I'm going to make you understand the meaning of the word called what? Assembly, everyone. What do you mean by assembly? Now try to listen to this very properly. SQC1, what is the full form, everyone? Standards on, yes. Acha, tell me everyone, standards are optional on the auditor or they are mandatory on the auditor? Mandatory. So it means this SQC1 says very simple thing. Every chartered accountant practicing unit at least once in 60 days should do the assembling of its audit documentation. This can be a probable MCQ question. So as per the SQC1, in how many days the auditor should do the proper assembly of its audit documentation in his office? Within every 60 days, he should do that. Every 60 days means what? Once in 2 months, you have to make sure that you are doing the proper assembling. It's a very simple thing, guys, and very logical also. Try to understand this part very carefully. Now, try to understand this part very carefully. Now, listen to this. Suppose I did multiple audits. The 1 week was completely hectic week. Now, some documents I collected from client A, some from B, from C, some from D. Now, multiple types of evidences are lying in front of my desk. If I'll not do the proper segregation, or if I'll not do the proper bifurcation or assembling of my audit evidence, now tell me one thing, whether I will be confused or not, which evidence belongs to whom? Yes. So proper assembling of your final audit file is very much important, and make sure that as and when your audit is over, the moment your audit is over, make sure that within 60 days, you should prepare the assembling of your file. Sir, what do you mean by assembling? Assembling means it's like a administrative work. Means what? Write the name of your client, write the financial year to which it belongs, write the checklist, print a checklist and paste it on a file. This file includes what and it does not include what. So that will help you in future. When you want to see one particular thing, you will automatically be, without opening the file, from the face only you will come to know what is actually this file contains. So that will save your time in future. That is what the purpose behind telling you this topic, everyone. So let us read this topic, what the audit lawmaker is saying. Auditor shall assemble audit documentation in an audit file and complete administrative process of assembling final audit file on timely basis after the auditor's report. That's what I was trying to tell you. As and when your audit is getting over, within 60 days, you have to do the assembling. Now see. SQC1, quality control for firms that performs the audit and review of historical financial information and other assurance and related services, requires that firms to timely completion of assembling of audit files. An appropriate time limit within which to complete the assembling of final audit is ordinarily not more than how many days, everyone? 60 days. To make sure that every 60 days, or once your audit report is issued, make sure that maximum within 60 days you should do the assembling of your final audit file. It means that should be ready, and that should be ready to be placed in your cupboard. That is called assembling, everyone. So remember, this is an MCQ question which they may ask you, what is the assembling time as per the SQC1? Within 60 days from the date of audit report. The moment you have signed the audit report, in the next 60 days, your final audit working paper file should be ready. Clear, everyone? Next one. Examples of that file. They are asking you, what are the examples of such changes in the file? What kind of changes you can do it in file? I can do some kind of deleting in the file. I can do some discarding of superseded documents. Now, let me tell you one thing, everyone. Uh, Anybody knows section number 128? Anybody knows what is section number 128? Yes, section number 128 talks about books of accounts, everyone. And in the section number 128, it is clearly mentioned that every company has to maintain 8 accounting years books of accounts in their office at any point of time. Present financial year which is going on, that the books should be there in your office, but in your registered office, last 8 accounting years books of accounts should also be there. Same kind of rule, again repeating, same kind of rule, everyone, applies to auditor also. In his office, you have to maintain audit documentation for 7 years, everyone. Means last 7 years audit documentation which you collected from your client's place must be available in your office at any point of time. Now tell me one thing everyone, what I will do in the 8th year? In the 8th year, the last year's documentation I can dispose. But at every point of time, a group of 7 years audit documentation should be present in your firm at any point of time. Always remember this. So that is what the point number one, deleting or discarding the superseded documentations. What is the next point? Sorting, collating, and cross-referring working papers. Signing off on completing checklists relating to final assembling process. Documenting audit evidences that the auditor has obtained and discussed. So remember one thing, this rule, this can be the another probable MCQ question which they may ask you in the examination. For how many years the auditor has to maintain. So remember, 8 years is applicable for the companies. 8 years is applicable for the companies, that too for their books of accounts. But for the auditor, it is how many years? 7 years, everyone. And you know what this 7 year is known as? PAWF. PF. Permanent Audit Working Paper File. So that we are going to understand in the next, I think 15-20 minutes only. I think, yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you. It is written in front of you only. Everyone, please read. Are you able to see the word called 7 years or not? Yes, it is given 7 years. Now, please read the whole sentence, everyone. What is written? SQC requires that chartered accountancy firms to establish policies and procedures for the retention of engagement documents. The retention period for audit engagement ordinarily is not shorter than 7 years from the date of audit report, or if later, the date of group auditors report. So remember one thing, at any point of time, acha, can I say that when the peer reviewer will come, can he ask your last 7th year audit report or not?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I want to check for 13-14. Now at that point of time, you have to show him the 13-14 audit report, because SQC 1 says that every chartered accountant's firm should have 7 years documentation available at any point of time. As simple as that. So what are the 2 MCQ questions also we have done today, everyone? What is the assembling time as per SQC 1?
60 days.
60 days. 60 days after the audit report, you must have done the assembling. And what is the documentation time period for preservation in your office?
7 years.
7 years, everyone. Clear or not? Any doubt so far or no doubt, everyone? No doubt. Acha. Now, what is this topic? Very simple topic, 1 minute topic. Completion memorandum and audit documentation summary. Now, tell me, everyone, don't you think that it is advisable what this file contains? We should make an index of that and paste it on the front of the file?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? It's a very simple thing. Like, say, for example, if we'll see the book of mine, in my book, I also have made the index or not, everyone? Yes or no? Now, if I directly want to go to the company audit, can I go to page number 255 directly? Yes. So I will come to know that company audit starts from the page number 255. In the same manner, everyone, don't you think that your file also deserves to be maintained in that way? Yes or no? Yes. So that's what they are simply saying, that make sure that when you are preparing the audit documentation files, do some numbering, do some indexation, and make one summary of all the things which are included in that file, so that when you are seeing the file in the beginning, in the opening page only, you will come to know whether what I am looking for is there inside this file or not. That is what is written in this paragraph. So everyone, please take a moment and read the whole paragraph and let me know, no doubt. Okay. After that, I'll move to the next topic. Take a moment and read the whole paragraph. I think it is visible to all of you. Yes, read the whole paragraph. Auditor may consider it helpful to prepare and retain as a part of audit documentation what? A summary, sometimes known as completion memorandum, that describes what? The significant matters identified during the audit and how they were addressed. Such summary may facilitate effective and efficient review and inspection of audit documentation particularly for the large and complex audit. Further, the preparation of such summary may assess the auditor's consideration of which matters, significant matters. So if I'll write on a piece of paper, okay, this file includes a very sensitive information of my client. Are you getting the point? Then do I have to preserve this file more or less?
More.
More. I have to preserve this file more. And if in any case in future any kind of information is required, I can simply see the summary and accordingly I can provide the documentation as and when it is required. I hope all of you are understanding the concepts which I'm telling you. Yes. Now, what is the next concept, everyone? Can you read the next concept? What is the next concept? Who is the owner of this audit documentation? The next concept is, who is the owner of this audit documentation? Everyone, please try to understand this part. Please try to understand this part. Let me just write it. So, everyone, let's write what we have done so far. What is the assembling time, everyone? What is the assembling time of doing the audit file?
50 days
after the
report.
Assembling time. Assembling time is within 60 days from the date of which report?
Audit report.
Audit report.
Or completion of the audit.
Yes. 60 days from the date of audit report or group audit report. Clear or not? Yes. And what is the preservation time?
7 years.
Yes. Preservation time is also what? 7 years.
7 years.
From the date of same
Audit.
audit. And these both the things are being told by whom?
Auditor.
SQC1. Both the things are being told by whom? SQC1. So SQC1 means what? Standard on Quality Control says that, bhaiya, if you are an auditor, do these kind of things. Next point. Everyone, please tell me, should we do the now try to understand this part which I'm going to tell you, everyone. Very important thing I'm going to share with you. That is called ownership concept. Sometimes they may ask you this question like this. I will give you the 3 situations. You try to give me the answer. Situation number 1, everyone. In the 17-18 financial year, I did the audit of Reliance Industries Limited. Say, for example, I did the audit of Reliance Industries Limited in the 17-18 financial year. While doing the audit of the 17-18 financial year, I collected so many audit evidences. And after collecting, I made the audit documentation file also. Clear? Now, what happened? Suddenly in 2021, today only, what is the date today, everyone? 9th March 2021, my client calls me and he says that, Rohit, I want those documents which you collected in the 17-18 financial year. Now, auditor said, no, I will not give it to you. My question is very simple. Can auditor say no to the client? Yes or no?
Is after the audit.
So my question is very simple. Sir, who has collected this audit evidences? Auditor. But from whom? From the client. But it was whose hard work, everyone? It was whose hard work? Auditor's hard work. So SA-230 simply says that the auditor is an absolute owner of these audit working papers, irrespective of the fact that from where he is collecting. Sir, I did the hard work. I collected my audit evidence. And if I want, if I wish, can I say no to my client or not? Yes. So it is the discretionary power. It is the discretionary power given to auditor. If the auditor wants, he may say no to anyone, not only client. He can say no to whom? He can also say no to the professionals. Now, let me give you the situation number 2, everyone. Suppose Mr. A is the statutory auditor of Reliance Industries Limited and Mr. B is the tax auditor of Reliance Industries Limited. Statutory auditor completed his audit. Now the tax auditor is doing the audit. Now there is one clause called clause number 19, say for example, in the tax audit report. Now that clause is asking some documents. That clause is asking some documents, but that documents are there with the statutory auditor. Now, what this particular tax auditor did, he called the statutory auditor. Sir, I'm the tax auditor. I'm also a practicing chartered accountant. I would like to come to your office and would like to see the audit working papers you have collected because that is required to be used for the purpose of my tax audit. Now, again, this statutory auditor said no. Can he say no to him also?
Yes.
Answer is yes. Because again, answer will remain same. Auditor is a which owner? Absolute owner. So, what is the conclusion of this particular topic, everyone? What is the conclusion? If the auditor wishes, if the auditor wishes, he can say no to anyone. He can say no to anyone except if there is a question of law. Except if there is a question of law. Now tell me, are you bigger than law?
No.
No. If the law is forcing you to show that particular audit evidence, then in that case, if the law is forcing you to show that particular audit evidence, then in that case, the law is going to be bigger than you. The law is going to be bigger than you and will make sure that at that point of time, you are not saying no. Otherwise, you will get penalized. So standard on auditing 230 says that say no to anyone. If you want, you can say no to the client also. If you want, you can say no to the professionals also. But you are not allowed to say the no when it is a question of law because question of law is bigger than you. As simple as that. So everyone, I hope all of you understood the concept of ownership here. Yes or not? So is the auditor a partial owner or absolute owner?
Absolute owner.
Absolute owner. So everyone, please read this concept along with me. Standard on Quality Control 1. Standard on Quality Control 1 provides that unless otherwise specified by the law or regulation, audit documentation is the property of auditor. He may at his discretion. What do you mean by this point, everyone? If he wishes to choose, he can make the portions of or extracts from audit documentation available to the clients. But tell me one thing, what is the word used, everyone? Discretion. I'm underlining this word in a darker way so that you can understand. The word uses discretion, everyone. And discretion means what? Can he choose to say no? Yes. Provided such a disclosure does not undermine the validity of the work in the case of assurance or engagement or independence. Tell me one thing, everyone. Is there any possibility that by mistake you may do the leakage of the confidential information of your client or not? Now, at that point of time, whether you will be punished under the law or not? Yes. So, would you be more careful while showing your audit working papers or less careful? More careful. Yes. That's the reason this power has been given to you. This discretion has been given to you. If you want, you can say no. If you want, you can say no. As simple as that. So, that is what do you mean by the word called what? Discretion, everyone. Now, next topic. Documentation of significant matters and related significant professional judgments. Acha, tell me one thing, guys. Is there any possibility that the audit what you have done this year, you might be the auditor of the same company next year or not?
No.
Yes. Is there any possibility that you have done the audit of ABC Limited this year, that next year you will also be the same auditor of the same company or not? Yes.
Maybe.
A single chartered accountant, yeah, may or may not be. A single chartered accountant who is appointed as an auditor can become the auditor of the same company for the next 5 years. I hope you all know that section number 139 gives you the authority. Am I correct or not? So you can be an auditor of a company for the next what? 5 years. But that may be there or may not be there. Let me ask you a very simple thing. Suppose in the year 2000 in the year two in the year let me write in the year 1819 you were the auditor, and during the 1819 you found so many frauds and so many errors, due to which you collected so many audit evidences also, and your audit documentation file also was prepared. Now next year again that company has appointed you an auditor in 1920 financial year. Now tell me whether those audit evidences, frauds, errors which you have collected or which you have seen last year, whether those frauds, errors, audit evidences, audit file which you have seen or collected last year is going to help you out in this year or not?
Yes.
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 But my question is, if you could not have recorded it, if you could not have recorded it, is there any possibility that you may forget it, what you have done last year?
Yes.
Yes. So don't you think that it is very good practice for every practicing CA to record it as and when it is possible or not? Yes. So that is what is the meaning of this concept, everyone. Read the heading only, you will get an idea. What is the heading, everyone? Documentation of significant matters and related significant professional judgments. If you'll keep the documentation or a written record of your important matters and important professional judgments, that will definitely help you out in the future what to do, what not to do. Everyone, did you understand the point or not? Now let us see what is written in the law. Law simply says that judging the significance of the matter requires an objective analysis of the facts and circumstances. Everyone, please tell me, is it correct to say that the one auditor's judgment and other auditor's judgment should be same?
No.
No. Everyone is having its own professional judgment or not?
No.
Yes. The one thing which is significant for me, is it mandatory that it is significant for my senior?
No.
No. His judgment is different and my judgment is different. That's what they are saying. It needs an objective analysis which keeps on changing from one person to another, everyone. Clear, everyone? Now, next thing, examples of significant matters. They are telling you that what kind of significant matters you should make the documentation of. Matters that gave rise to the which risk, everyone? Significant risk. Acha, I will ask you a very simple question. Do you know Amul Industries? Yes. Amul Industry is a dairy product company. Am I correct or not? Butter, milk, so many things comes. Suppose one of the person died. Just an imaginary situation. One of the person died after consuming Amul milk, and the whole family member of that person have filed a case against the Amul Industries. What are the chances that the Amul Industries will win? Higher or very low chances are there?
Lawyer.
Very low.
Very low chances. Don't you think that the court will pass the judgment in the favor of the deceased family member? Yes. Yes. Probably. There may be a certain. Now tell me one thing. Today the case is filed. So up to 31/3/2021, no result of the case has come. But if that result of the case will come negative in the favor of Amul Industries, whether the Amul company has to pay a crores and crores of compensation or not, at that point of time, will it be a significant risky area?
Yes.
Yes. So make sure that you should make a note of those areas which are posing a threat to the company, so that next year when you are going to do the audit, you will automatically get an idea. Okay, last year this thing has happened and I made a note of it. Then only you will realize, because you are not doing the audit of one company, my friend. You are doing the audit of multiple companies at the same point of time. You are not a robotic brain. You are not a robotic brain that you can remember everything. Some things you can remember, some things you can't remember. That is why SA-230 is simply saying one thing: you make a record of those matters which are giving the significant risk of the future. Second thing, you should also make a record of your results of your audit procedures. Why I should make a result? Why should I make a record of my audit procedures, everyone? What is the benefit of making the records of audit procedure? So that next year it will guide you. Next year it will guide you in last year which kind of audit procedures you have followed. So next year it will be easy for you. It will consume the less time to decide. It will consume the less time to decide which audit procedures you are going to follow. Next one. Circumstances that cause auditor significant difficulty in applying the necessary audit procedures. Circumstances that cause auditor difficulty in applying the necessary audit procedures. Everyone, please try to understand this concept very carefully. Last year, I was doing the audit of one company called ABC Limited. Last year, I told them that I would like to pay a visit to your factory. The MD of that company called me, sir, sorry, we can't allow you to go to the factory because the factory is in the Naxal area. Factory is in the which area, everyone? Naxalite area. Now, Naxalite area means terrorist area or not? Yes. Now tell me, will I be putting my life in danger to just go and verify their stock? No. Now tell me one thing. Were you able to verify the inventory of the last year properly or not? No, because the factory was located in the which area, everyone? Naxalite area. Now, at that point of time, don't you think that I should remember this thing till next year? Yes, I should remember this thing till next year. That's why I'll make a record on the spot. Okay, this year I found the difficulty because this year I was not able to do the inventory because the inventory is lying in one factory and factory is in the Naxal area. So that next year you can plan other kind of audit procedures, other alternative to verify their inventory. Crystal clear or not? Yes. Okay. Next one. Findings that could result in the modification to the audit opinion. Everyone, please tell me, what do you mean by modified opinion? Positive or negative opinion? Negative. Yeah, modified means negative. Tell me one thing. Would you like to record the reasons of your negative opinion or not? Yes. Now, next year, when you are verifying the last year audit report, it is written that company's affairs are not true and fair. You are unable to remember, okay, why I gave this report. Now you will open the file. In the file, it is reason why I gave the negative report. Now tell me, are you able to read the reasons of your own modified opinion or not? Yes, that will help you next year. So these are the various things, significant matters, which SA-230 says that the auditor may include in his audit documentation file. So everyone, you are going to help me out in writing this question now. Please tell me, what are those significant matters which the auditor should ensure that he is making a note of it? Significant, significant matters, comma, the auditor shall make documentation of. Everyone, please help me in that. What are those significant matters which the auditor shall make a documentation of? Should I make a significant record of those matters which poses significant future risks or not? Do you remember the Amul Industries example I gave you? Yes. Should I also make the record of audit procedures which were applied last year? Yes, sir. We should make a record of because it will help me in this year. Should I also make a record of those situations which made it difficult for me to apply my audit procedures? Everyone clear or not? Yes, it will all guide me in future. And should I also make a record of those reasons due to which auditor gave a which opinion, everyone?
Auditor opinion.
Yes. I hope all of you are understanding what the lawmaker is trying to tell you. I hope I'm justifying your expectations in explaining the concept, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir.
I hope everyone is understanding, listening me properly, right? So with that, our essay 230 is over, everyone. So our essay 230 is completely over. This what brings an end. Now there are some extra things which you should know about essay 230, everyone. What are those extra things? Sometimes they may ask you this question: what is the difference between permanent audit working paper file and temporary audit working paper file, everyone? There are basically two types of files which we generally maintain at our office. What are the two types of file, everyone? One is known as permanent audit working file and one is known as temporary audit working file. Sir, what do you mean by permanent audit working file? Now try to remember this very clearly. The name itself suggests that it is permanent audit working file. So what is permanent in that? It is that file which is also known as reference file and it is also known as review file. And it is that file which is known as maintained file. These are the another name of these files which they may ask you in the examination. So what do you mean by permanent audit working file or temporary audit working file? That is a direct question they may ask you. Or indirectly they may ask you briefly explain reference file or maintained file. So these are the other names. Now point number one. Everyone, let me write it first, and while writing, if you are able to read it and understand it, that is very good, but still I will make you understand even after the writing also. It is a file which is going to be referred by or reviewed by auditor and his audit engagement team by auditor and his audit engagement team before the commencement of current year audit. Now, how many of you understood the concept? It is which file, everyone? Which will be opened, which will be reviewed and referred by the auditor and his audit engagement team after the commencement of the current year audit or before the commencement? Before the commencement. So tell me, everyone, which kind of documents we are verifying? Did we start the audit or we did not start the audit? Did not start the audit. It means last year files are known as permanent audit working files. So last year documents I'm going to open in the current year so that I can review it, I can refer it, and I can get the direction in which way my current year audit should go. Am I correct or not? This is known as permanent audit working files. And tell me, last how many years file is available in my office?
7 years.
7 years. So will I get a correct direction in which direction I should do my audit or not? Yes. Now, what is the meaning of other side? It is a file which includes evidences, records, documents, errors, frauds, collected, generated by an auditor during course of
Audit.
current year audit. During the course of which year audit?
Current year audit.
Current year audit. So tell me one thing, guys. Which is the file I'm referring before the audit and which is the file I'm maintaining during the audit? Tell me. Which one is I'm referring before the audit and which one I'm maintaining during the audit.
Current file before.
Yes. So permanent audit working file is the file which I am referring before commencing an audit so that I can get a direction. Temporary audit working paper file is the file which I'm maintaining during the year. It is also known as current audit working paper file. Another name is, it is also known as current audit working paper file. Are you getting the point? Now question is, when the name itself says that it is current audit working paper file, so this file will include which kind of documents, everyone? Current year documents, current year evidences, current year records, current year documents, current year errors I found, current year frauds I found, collected, generated by an auditor during the course of the current year audit. Now, everyone, can you please tell me what is the age of this file?
7 years.
Yes, very nice, very nice. 7 years as per the requirement of whom? SQC1. Now, think logically, everyone. What is the age of this file on the right side? The age of this file is only 1 year.
Hard.
Yes, the age of this file is only 1 year. Now, listen to the logic. Now, when my current year audit will be over, everyone, when my current year audit will be over, will I be, listen to this very carefully, will I be going to empty this file and transfer all the documents to the permanent audit working file or not? Yes, and this file will be empty and I'm going to fill up again this file for the 2021 audit. Now, it's a very simple thing. Say, for example, when I completed the 1920 audit, when I was doing the 1920 audit, was I maintaining the temporary audit working file or not? Yes. Now, when the 1920 audit is over, now tell me, from the 1st April, which audit will start? 2021 audit will start. So when the 2021 audit will start, do I need an empty file or not? Yes. So 1920 file, I will make the empty in 2021 doing the audit. Sir, where the documents of 1920 again, they got back and added to my which file? Permanent audit file. So that is why, what is the age of this file, everyone? 1 year and 7 years. Now, what are the contents of this file? What are the contents of this file? What kind of documents will be there in this file? Can I keep the MOA, AOA, certificate of incorporation, partnership deed, copy, last year auditor's report, and last year audited financial statements? Now tell me one thing, everyone. Can you do any kind of change in all these things? Yes or no? Can you change all these things? Yes or no? They are permanent document or temporary documents of the company? Permanent document. That's why it is known as permanent audit working. Now, on the other side, what are the contents of this file? Planning, strategy, evidences, conclusions, procedures, techniques, programs, representation letters, engagement letters, communications. My question is, everyone, are they going to remain same next year or they are going to change? Each and every word which I have written in front of you. Planning is going to remain same next year or it will change? So that is why they are what in nature, everyone? Temporary. And this is what in nature, everyone?
Your audio is not audible. Your voice is not audible.
Is my voice audible now? Is my voice audible now, everyone? Please confirm. Yes. So these planning, strategy, evidences, conclusions are what? They are temporary in nature. And these, documents called MOA, AOA, COI, partnership form, they're what in nature? Permanent. So from the nature of the documents which we put in this file, we have taken up this name. Okay, this is called permanent audit working file, and that is known as temporary audit working file. I hope everyone is crystal clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Clear, everyone? right? So that brings an end to the major discussion on our standard called SA-230, which is known as what? Audit documentation, everyone. Anybody is having a doubt on that? Please let me know. Anybody is having any kind of doubt on that? Please let me know. Assuming that no doubt is there. Yes, everyone? Okay. So I'll do one thing, guys. Only 10 minutes are left up to the 9. So I'm thinking of not starting the new topic, because once we'll start the concept of evidence, it has to be a continuous thing, because that is completely a different area of the standards on auditing. But before that, everyone, please tell me, what are the standards we are already done with? I think we are done with the 6 standards on auditing. Yes or no? Standard on auditing number 1, 200 we are done with. 220 we are done with. 230 we are done with. 210 we are done with. 300 we are done with. And 320 we are done with. Clear, everyone? Yes?
Yes.
So thank you so much, everyone, for lending your patient ears. I'll borrow it again in the tomorrow's class. And tomorrow again, we are going to meet at 7 o'clock. Okay? So bye-bye, everyone. Please do refer to your friends if they're interested in watching the class. Let them know. And yes, for these classes, Google Drive, pen drive classes also will be available in the future. If any of your friend does not want to come online to attend the class, and if they want to attend it later on, make sure that you're conveying your message. And do support, like, and subscribe my YouTube channel. YouTube channel is Grover Audit and Law Classes. I hope some of you might have already subscribed. Yes or no? So make sure that Grover Audit and Law Classes is my YouTube channel, and it will be very grateful to you if you'll support me on this particular channel. So thank you everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye, everyone. Good night. Take care. Bye everyone. Bye everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming to the class. Bye everyone.